We're on Lake Currawong, just out of Launceston in Tasmania, and hopefully we've got an evening rise coming up. There's plenty of spinners in the air here, and soon they'll be starting to lay their eggs. Got a few risers just out wide. It's been pretty hot today, so with a bit of luck they're going to move their way in closer to the bank and allow us to target them. But just amazing. We've still got a bit of a breeze, but just right as you can see ahead of us, it's just calm. We just need one of these fish to come up and take this dun pattern here. So I just tied on a new one, and we want this to float up nice and high, hey, so we can see it, but also so the fish can see it right up on the surface as well. So we just put our floatant, which is our little fly source, which is ideal, and that just stops it for quite a while for absorbing a lot of water, makes it float nice and high. So we'll just hopefully put this in front of another fish, and he'll like it just as much. We're about 7:30, and we've had some amazing spinner falls and the hatches and running around the edges here, and the fish had been just rising just outside of casting range, so we've just decided to move around in a little bit to this ripply water, and this one rose a couple of times, and we thought it was a barramundi there for a second, just sucking it down there. I've stuck with the Gibson emerger, which is like a dun pattern in a parachute sort of style, and that was just a very subtle. Well, they virtually just suck it from the top of the surface, and you lift that rod and you hook up, and it's all worthwhile. And he'll be a good solid fish. I'm not sure the size, but he'll be, yeah, good 3 or 4 pound, I'd reckon, for sure. And we're using with this today, it's the Air 8'2" in the 4-weight, so it gives a really great presentation, but it's got a good bit of backbone there. If you get a reasonable fish like this one, you can sort of steer him around a bit. But huge big tail, big brownie, just a great fish. I mean, at Currawong Lakes, it's got browns and rainbows, and they're just in great nick because it's very natural here, you know. So plenty of food. They're certainly looked after. Trying to just wear him out a little bit, but his head doesn't want to come up. And that's all you can do. Particularly when you get a big fish, you can just keep that pressure on the rod high so he fights against it. And we've just got to keep the pressure on until you can get his head up. And then you can slide that net underneath him. But she's been hard work today because it's been quite hot. Tassie's had quite a few days of around like 30 degrees, so that warms up the water, particularly around the edges, which is where fly fishermen tend to be. So you've got to wait until it cools down, sun's gone down, and the fish are going to come in where the food is. We'll get him in here. Beautiful brown. Beautiful, excellent. That's a great fish for Tasmania. That's pretty much what Tassie's all about. I'll get him out in a second and give you a look at him, but he's going to be ideal, I reckon. Yeah. If you're at the butcher's, you'd at least be 4. There you go, about 4 1/4. So that's not too bad going. In a lake like this. I'll bring him over, just in like outstanding condition. Just beautiful, beautiful fish. And you'll just see the depth. Let's get these glasses off. And just great nick, great nick. You can just see that depth throughout that fish there. Just magnificent. You don't get tired of catching 4-pounders on the dry fly. Beautiful. Get him back in the net there for a second. It always pays to keep him in the water for as long as you can. And if we can get that hook out with him in the water and put him back in, you'll be all set for when you come across to Currawong Lakes, and should be about 5 pound by then too. Beautiful. Righto. Beautiful fish. Great big long tail, that's where they get all that power from. Fantastic. We'll get him back in. Oh, he's ready to go already. Beautiful. That's what fly fishing's about. Lovely still evening. You've got a few insects about, and you've got a fish that's going to take your fly. That's what makes fly fishing worthwhile.